Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Your favorite podcast, it's Critical Blast.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
And I'm Scott Wakefield, host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham, where we talk about comic books and all kinds of great storytelling, sometimes with incredible guests. And we want you to join us Wednesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you there.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Silverline Wednesday Night Wham! Hosted by Scott Wakefield!
Oh, and that's that. Hello, everyone. Hello, Internet. Hello, Silverliners out there. Welcome. It is Wednesday night. We are all
my neighbors heard that.
and you are right where you should be with us. We have a great show. As always, every show is amazing, each more incredible than the last. And tonight, I will be wrangling the lunacy tonight. We have a guest crasher here.
Yes.
No, he's permanent. He's permanent.
I am. I'm coming from the other.
Oh,
No, I'll go back to Sunday. I can never abandon Curtis.
Oh, that's right.
we're happy to have you, irregardlessly of where you live. Folks, we have a lot going on tonight. We have, last week I promised, if you were waiting and you were going to call us out, I promised a review by Martin Piero, but we were so deep into the discussion with Aaron Lopresti that we never got to it. So that is tonight. We'll have that at about the halfway mark. We will be talking about our previous Kickstarter, the status of that, upcoming Kickstarters, and what those will be, what we want on Facebook, what we'd love to see with your help out there, and the goodies that you might get if you do help us reach some goals on our social media on Facebook. But let's get started. And I love to have everybody introduce themselves, say what we have going on, and what we do for Silverline and elsewise. And I love for everybody to say where we are geographically, because we usually have a pretty good mix. So
everybody in Florida.
Sorry. I think got a pretty southern mix tonight. If you are out there watching this show live, feel free to send us, throw in some comments. If you've got questions about the topic at hand, if you have questions about something else, comic book related or pop culture related, or almost anything's fair game with our show. And we will be discussing comic book crossovers tonight. That is our topic. That my goal is to keep us on.
I thought we were supposed to be talking about potato chips. Isn't that what we talked about in the
and how many marshmallows we can fit in our mouths?
Yes.
If time permits, Tommy.
Oh, well, I gotta go put the chips up.
You do realize how many crossovers are in potato chips?
But potato chip crossovers. If 1,000 points to anybody, if you can figure out a potato chip crossover in comic books, you win the night. If you're watching, toss your comments up, and we will try to hit those. If you're not watching this live, you're still welcome to throw them on there. We try to respond to those later down the line. All right.
And we just started our community highlight series on the blog, so your comments may be featured on our blog, so you can get a shout out.
You can be famous. Make your
Can
comment.
Kasisi,
I'm gonna write something.
yeah, Kasisi, who is in chat, you actually have a post up on our blog post.
All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And who manages those that blog and all that?
That would be me.
Oh, you do all that fantastic work, Tim. Well, hey, how did Am I still the steamiest? Did I change my name? Okay. Is someone changing names here?
I just thought that's why your lens keeps fogging.
It is hot. How about I start? I will start, and I'll say hello. My name is Scott Wakefield. I am the co-creator and co-writer of an upcoming title. I feel like I've been saying that for months now. Steam Patriots, a Silverline title that's coming up very soon, hopefully. And I help out with publicity. So I always like to ask if you are out there and you are doing a blog, a stream, or anything comic book or related that would help us maybe get reviews, get more eyes on our titles. We'd love to chat. If you want us to feature a review for you or so on and so forth, we would love to discuss. In the independent world, we love to talk about each other, and we will build each other up so we're all successful. Okay, that's me. I'm Scott, and I'm going to go around my screen over there. I've got Dean, and then Aaron, and then Haley. So why don't we go? Dean, say hello.
Hello there. My name is Dean Zachary. I am a writer, creator, artist type here at Silverline. I've been in the comic book business for a while. From way back in the Malibu days, you can find some of my work, beginning with The Ferret and The Nightman and Green Lantern and Batman and a lot of things between then and now. But most importantly, now I'm working on Silverline exclusively because independent comics is where it's at. And look for Silverblade later this year.
Yes.
Thanks for listening.
Very cool. All right, Aaron, go for it. Haley, you're next, and then Tommy.
So I'm from the Silverline Sunday crew, so I'm crashing for a little bit. I'm the artist on Fire Rush, which I think there's an announcement coming up about that soon. And
might be.
Yes, and I'm working on another title for Silverline right now that is a sci-fi title that has not really been announced yet, but I'm working on that. And I do my own comic book, Godlings, which I'm finishing up this year as well.
Very nice.
So I am doing all sorts of comic book related stuff.
That's what we do. That's why we're here.
It is.
Thank you, sir. Haley, and then Tommy, and then Tim. Go for it, Haley. Say hello.
Hi, well, I'm Haley Martin. I'm pretty new to the comics world. I write and draw my own comic called Heroic Shenanigans, and currently I am doing the art for the upcoming Silverline title Bear. And I'm in Florida.
Yes. Oh, yes. I
don't think anyone else said that.
Yes, I live in Western New York, the snowy and beautiful Western New York. Dean, you are in where are you right now? Somewhere south.
I am in Northeast Arkansas, Midwest / Mid-South. We were snowy about a week ago. Now we're warm again.
Yes.
Awesome.
Everybody's getting pneumonia.
Aaron,
yeah.
I'm hanging out with the new Mars rover.
So,
there.
Okay.
Nice.
No, I live about an hour.
That picture.
Me and Tim are really close. I live in Vancouver, Washington, an hour from where Tim's at.
Oh, very nice.
So eventually we may get to meet when convention season comes back up.
Yeah.
I know.
Someday. Haley, you are in Florida. Tommy, hailing from Florida as well. Say hello.
Hi, my name is Thomas Floramonte Jr. You guys can call me Tommy if you want. If you don't, just call me Thomas. That's fine too. But I'm a comic creator from the early 90s, been working off and on just for forever, it feels like. Currently, got done inking the books for Silverline called Trumps. See, I'm writing it down because you guys always make fun of me. And I am inking right now while we're getting on the second book of Trumps. I'm inking the Silverline crossover featuring Champion and Miss Fury, and working on the Rejects book with Mr. C. Michael. And I'm also working with Mr. Bean on Silverblade.
Yes.
Wait, did you say Mr. Bean?
Like Mr. Bean? No, Mr. Dean. Mr. Dean, not Mr. Dean. There you go.
I love your
And I'm also the co-owner of the comic book, the #1 comic book printing company in the world, called Kablam Digital Printer. Company. Something. And I also do my own stuff under the Kid Hero line of stuff at Inferno Studio.
Yes.
So I never sleep.
Who needs it? It's overrated.
Nobody does.
All
Lots
right.
of coffee. Lots of coffee.
On my screen, I got Tim over here, and then I'm going to go across the bottom. C. Michael, then Brent, and then John. So Tim.
Mr. John.
I am Tim TK. I am the writer / creator of Wolf Hunter that features guns on trains.
That's the subtitle.
Yes.
Guns on
Byline. I don't know what you get.
Guns on trains.
I also help run our blog and manage the craft series. So I gotta send out a new batch of requests for submissions on that. And I produce our Wednesday night show. I do a few other things around. And I am located in Salem, Oregon, about an hour south of Aaron. Cassisi in the chat also says Pacific Northwest represent. Absolutely.
Yes.
And another one in chat just came off Tommy. Tommy, besides yourself, who's the best Wednesday Whammer?
Oh,
Whoa.
somebody asked that. That was a really nice question. I'm gonna have to say it's probably me. That's nice. Whoever asked that, who asked that?
You.
Tommy, is your camera moving towards you, or is your head getting big? Something's. There you go.
Oh, dang! I thought I changed my user thing on there. Hold on.
What
gotta fix that.
Parody movie is that where there's the phone in the foreground and the soldier or the officer walks up?
Top Secret.
What's that?
Top Secret.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a big old monster phone.
Brilliant sight gags. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And who is the star? Does anybody know?
His first movie. It's his first movie. I know that. Anyone?
Was it Val Kilmer the star?
It was indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top Secret. Okay.
I'm not that old.
All right. Serious, folks. Okay. Back to introduction. C. Michael and Brent, and then John. Go for it.
All right, I'm C. Michael Lanning. I am Matt Scribbler over here on Rejects for Silverline Comics.
Rejects,
Yeah, coming to you from Louisiana. Looking at John, waiting for him to drop his new rap album.
Like is that?
Whoa. Anyway,
I don't think he heard you.
I'm also currently have a Kickstarter with a 6-page story in it with Meredith Loughran.
Yes.
That's on Kickstarter now. We are funded. Thank y'all for that.
Ooh, yes.
And of course, we still have much more to go. So go check that out. And the colors are also from a Silverliner called named Jeremy Kahn. So definitely go check that out. We like to keep it in the family here at Silverline. And also you can find me on Weekend every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time. That's my time, not yours. So.
Yeah. Say the title of your Kickstarter campaign.
Enter the Continuum.
Enter
Terraform. Enter the Continuum.
From
what's the URL so we can go to it real quick?
Kickstarter.com/
6ECDE.
Just go to Kickstarter. Look up Enter the Continuum, and it'll come up.
Yeah, Enter the Continuum, or if they search, I think Terraform Comics, right? It'll come up.
It should. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of terraforming though. There's also a Kickstarter to terraform Mars, which I'm also supporting.
You're part of that too?
Yes.
Like literally like Genesis Project Mars? Is it?
No, I think it's just terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
Just terraforming so you can live there.
I think it's a Doctor Who group. I don't know.
It's Elon Musk. It's just Elon Musk.
What is the reward? You get to move there? Is that one of the tiers for Kickstarter?
I think you get a picture.
Space bus and go live on Mars. Okay, all right.
Yeah, they'll plant a seed for you.
You are in Louisiana, yes, sir. Thank you. And over to Florida, Brent, say hello.
Rouge is where he's from.
Yeah, I'm Brent Larson. I am the creator writer of the Silverline book Kalis and the upcoming Silverline book Cape Town. I've been involved in comics since the mid 2019s, I think. And what else? Yeah, I'm from Florida. The rest of the country just can't seem to get it straight, but Florida, we're the same yesterday, today.
Florida's until the hurricane hits. But yeah, go ahead.
They were wiped off.
Buy a bunch of water.
Or someone robs a Wendy's with a crocodile.
Hey, that's still the same.
Yeah. That's on brand.
Nothing strange about that.
That's
All
what
right.
we call a weekend.
And rounding things out, bringing us back to a sense of normalcy and sanity. All right.
Lord knows that's not me.
John the third.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is John Medic. Best known for being the creator of my son, also John Medic the Fourth. Comics-wise, creator of Sniper and Rook action adventure series, hopefully coming soon to you from Silverline. Other than that, ne'er-do-well, definitely slacker, and need to kind of up my game on getting some stuff published soon. I hail to you from the most corrupted state in the Union of Illinois.
That's debatable. Very debatable.
What, that I'm really from Illinois because the Lucas relocation thing, or because of
currently Illinois doesn't have a governor recall right now, right?
No, that's because we never get that far. But I think we had the most governors ever indicted and put in jail. For God's sake, I mean, I was at Wizard World Chicago one year, and above they were talking about now signing Rod Blagojevich, one of our governors that went to jail for trying to sell Obama's Senate.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yep. And when he was even running, oh my God, I was thinking I need to lock down the URL blogoisbad.com, but I never did. And I probably could have made a mint on that thing.
How much money can you get for that? For selling
during that time, I probably could have made some money. I don't know. There are people that just sit on URLs and then they get real hot for one reason or another. And they
I meant selling the governor thing. That's what
that. If you ever Google exactly what the phone call said, I think he referred to it as an effing gold mine.
Oh, that's
so
a lot.
That gives you a
more
rough
than $10.
idea of if you give you a rough idea of what the exchange rate is.
Let me look that up.
Gold mine.
Effing gold mine. I'm typing it in now.
It's under Bitcoin. I think it's under Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's under Bitcoin. There you go.
Oh my God, I missed y'all. So I apologize if I'm kind of a little off today. I'm not feeling 100%, but I am 100% here with my compatriots. So
thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, John. Thank you, all of you, for your introductions. And those introductions were brought to you by Daytona Beach Comic Con. And the rest of the show was brought to you by Daytona Beach Comic Con. So thank you, Daytona Beach Comic Con, for I get like a nickel every time I say it.
And do I have to go woo every time you say it?
Thank you for
so I'm getting some weights.
for supporting Silverline. And all of you out there watching, head over to their Facebook page or their website. They have their dates posted. It is in September. I did not jot it down. I think it's around the 18th. But go make sure that you like and follow their Facebook and all their social media, because they'll get the updates. And Silverline will be there. We will have folks there if you want to say hello to probably the Floridians. I assume we'll be making an appearance at Daytona Beach Comic Con. Martin Piero's review is coming up mid-show. And for those of you who supported our previous Kickstarter campaign for Teen Beatle, oh no, it's not Beatle, it's just Beetle spelled correctly. Teen Beetle and Switchblade. Thank you. And those are, Tommy?
What? How much a gold mine costs?
Mostly printed.
What do you think I do here, man?
I was looking to see what an effing gold mine would.
He's complaining at the door.
What an ounce of gold costs.
And effing gold mine is selling your comic through Kablam digital printing.
There you
I was
go.
just speaking to the head honcho a minute ago. The almost all of the books are printed. I still have to run a few through the finisher and get them ready. But he should, unless something goes crazy tomorrow, he should be able to pick them up on Friday. So they'll probably jam over the weekend. I'm not the one shipping them. It's Roland and the gang over there, so they'll probably get them out early next week, I would think.
Very soon. So
I'm gonna say he's doing it Monday.
Roland will be there Monday picking up.
So now Roland has to do it Monday. I hope he's listening. Roland probably just jumping up. Wait a minute, he just called.
video it or it didn't happen. Yeah.
Oh, he didn't say Monday. He said maybe later than Monday.
For those of you who are waiting on your comics, they will be in the mail very soon. Thank you, Tommy, for that update. Folks, you can also head over to silverlinecomics.com. You can read all the behind the scenes stories that Tim curates, our blog and our craft blog about how comic books are made and the thought processes that go from the writers and the artists and the pencilers and the inkers and all of that sort of stuff. If you really want to dive into how Silverline comics are made, we've got tons of info over there. But you can also click on the link and that will get you to Indie Planet, and you can buy every title we have, which I encourage. Buy every title we have. Buy two.
Multiple. And the digital version too.
Yeah. They make great gifts.
Yes. You can get digital versions. You can get, fantastic gifts. It's a great idea, John. And Teen Beetle and Switchblade will be available there soon. Big news coming up, our next round of Kickstarters, and I believe this might be the first place anyone is hearing this.
Oh, I haven't even heard.
Am I wrong?
I don't know. Depends on what comes out of your mouth.
I'm gonna bet that I'm correct here.
Breaking news.
And that
wait a minute. Roland just wrote again. It says tell Scott to shut up.
Okay.
Oh wow. Tell Scott.
That was before you said anything about Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's too late now. You gotta go for it now.
I gotta
He's
go.
not here.
I gotta
He's
roll.
not here.
I gotta roll.
John left.
Folks, next month we will be launching 2 new titles, which is our custom because we have so many great titles and stories coming out. 2 new titles. The second installment of Twilight Grim and our very own drawn, penciled by Mr. Aaron Humphreys, Fry Rush. Number 2, the second installment of Twilight Grim and Fry Rush are coming next month on Kickstarter.
Yes.
Keep an eye out for the news from all of our outlets. We will announce those. You should, if you've backed a project, you'll get an update sometime via the Kickstarter emails that go out through that avenue. So that's very exciting. Set your pennies aside to grab those copies with the continuation of the story, which is so cool because we've got a lot of number 2s and 3s and 4s coming out, which is awesome that our storylines are growing and our worlds are growing and just keeps growing. And I love all the folks that are here mentioning all the little stories that they're working on. And these streams, Wednesday night and Sunday night, is where you get to see you get the first bits of information and all the cool behind the scenes stuff. So it's awesome. Next, and I think this is the last thing I'm going to say before we get to our topic. So thank you all. We are setting a goal to get to 2,500 likes on Facebook. So
sweet.
Go share it with your friends, all that sort of stuff. And we are going to be giving away, if you share them, I don't know the rules of the contest and who can participate, but we've got free stuff for you. So for sharing and all those sorts of things. So we got merchandise, books, prints. And if you go to our Facebook page, there's a cool poster by Alex Gallimore, Tommy, and Mickey Clausen there. That's going to be one of the giveaways. So share our page with your friend. The more you share, the more likes we have, the more eyes we have on, and the better we can do with creating great comic books. So we appreciate all of you who have liked and followed and subscribed and all those sorts of things. But tell all your friends, tell all your enemies that Silverline is the coolest comic book publisher in the known universe. All right.
Or at least tell your enemies you hate Silverline, so they'll buy it just to
worst.
spite you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is horrible. Yeah. It's good. It's good. I like that. Thank you. Okay. Tonight. Now, and I always put a disclaimer on my role here. I'm to curate the conversation because I am far from an expert. I love Brent's. What you've been involved since mid 2019, since early in the last decade.
I'm a frequent reader of comics.
Yes.
I feel like that should get me something.
I lack the bona fides of our. I'm surrounded by greatness here, so I try to keep the conversation going. I am no expert. We have plenty of experts here. I just love to give all the responsibility to everybody out there. We are talking about comic book crossovers, and it's not a comic book crossover, but I think one of the greatest crossovers was when the Critic was on The Simpsons. One of the best episodes ever.
Yes.
There's my contribution. The Football to the Crotch was the winner of that film festival.
That's right. Ow, my groin. Yeah.
Groin. Are they saying? No, they're saying boo earns. Smithers, are they booing me?
For me, I'm already dead.
Thank you. Oh, goodness. That's wow. Classic episode. The critic was too short-lived. That was a fantastic
Yes, sir.
cartoon.
I've got it around here somewhere.
I loved it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a
I
little.
love it. He's acting.
Question.
It stinks.
Crossover. Do you mean company crossover?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask too. It's like we need to define what a crossover.
We can't define that.
So,
There's no way.
So this is something I did bring up in our company group chat. Also, Amy says, "Happy Wednesday, guys! Happy Wednesday, Amy."
Thank you.
Happy Wednesday.
So, in common parlance, we see two major forms of crossover. The first being your street level issue with one character jumping into another character's street level issue. It's kind of your regular monthly release. Or you have the big event where like go and grab all these characters from this universe, jam them together for one story, and then send them back to their street levels. Those are the two most common that you can encounter in the wild.
Yeah,
okay. So you're dealing.
Couldn't
Yeah,
like the
that's what I'm
the
asking.
Avengers be considered a crossover?
I
Yeah,
believe
that's what I'm asking.
it'd probably start as a crossover series, yeah, and then
Yeah, the first issue
because
was.
Justice League, any of the group stuff.
the group
those are
stuff would have
crossovers.
started as crossovers. That essentially they would have been events that they're like, hey, let's just keep this running.
Well,
Yeah, and then typically they just get brought back in for new events because Avengers does not, and Justice League at this point, you don't really see them run as long as you would say your X-Men or Captain America, as they'd say like, okay, here's Avengers Illuminati, here's Uncanny Avengers, here's
Right.
Amazing Avengers. So it
What do you
is
do with-
a long-running series, but they kind of serve events in that way, I would say.
Okay, so that's what you're saying, like Secret Wars and stuff like that are crossovers.
Right.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I know. Yeah, that's the.
So you're saying crossovers if they're in the same universe don't count?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
I'm
they would
thinking.
have to count. I mean, if you're talking historically, okay, like so one of the things I had thrown in on our company chat, predating Secret Wars, like Contest of Champions.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time something like that had been done in I don't know how long. Yeah, even if it's within the same company, if it's early enough, that would absolutely be considered a crossover. For
Yeah,
God's sake, look at like Spider-Man #1. What did they do? Spider-Man #1, guest starring Fantastic Four. I mean, that's
Yeah.
where it began.
And Roland is agreeing with me in the chat. But I'd find anytime you have a non-named or non-featured character in another character's story, or you pull two characters that would be in different stories into the same story. So
We all agree that we veto C. Michael's opinion.
Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't say veto, just
I
maybe
would say-
ignore.
I'd say also at this point,
Thanks, John.
I'd say at
That's
this
it.
point, comics
have
are.
been voted off the island.
I'd say at this point though, comics have been so convoluted that it's hard to describe what's a crossover and what isn't.
Yeah.
Because if you do a Google
That's
search
why when I had said
for
the thing about earlier,
weird crossovers, I mean, I'm looking at all these crazy crossovers.
Yeah, and there'd be ones where there'd be different franchises brought together, and I have some favorite
Sure.
ones from different franchises.
Doctor Who and the Star Trek crossover.
Right,
What the
yeah.
heck is that
But-
stupid?
Now also
Yeah,
everyone's so protective of copyright and trademark that to like do that again for Marvel to reach out like, hey, we want to have Doctor Who in a Doctor Strange story. All the lawyers in the room would get very quiet and just kind of eye each other.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. The Big Trouble in Little China Escape from New York crossover. That was a comic.
Yeah, and
that's kind of cool.
Roland is saying that Avengers is not a crossover; it's an entity, which I kind of figured. Spider-Man featuring in the Avengers when he's not a named Avenger is the crossover. So it's kind of the tag team stable rules. You have you have the Dudley brothers, and then when the Dudley And then when you have Edge and Christian work with them, that's a crossover of the stables.
That's a crossover.
Yeah,
Yes,
but they exist
when
as their own
Dudley's
stables.
bigger brother, Big Dick Dudley, came on, that's not a crossover
Because
because
he's named in the stable. Yeah.
Yeah, or what was the little brother's name? I forgot what his name was. Of the Dudley.
Does it feel
Anyway,
more like
that's something else.
Yeah.
Oh no, does it feel more like a crossover when the two entities have their own logos? Like I had a Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I think I had like the Batman logo and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle logo. It almost seems like more of a crossover because of two separate entities instead of like the Avengers.
I'd say because one of my favorite things going into being a Marvel fanboy, going into Age of Strife, one of my favorite things was the weird form of X-Force where they brought in Deadpool, who at the time was not an X-Force, and the Punisher, and they did their own with Cable. And then they created its own stable where they had Cable and Punisher as its own entity.
Yeah.
But it was a crossover that got turned into an entity or got turned into a stable.
I have mentioned my number one crossover was the Superman Spider-Man crossover way back in the day.
Yeah,
in the 70s. That was epic.
Yes,
But you can't make a stable out of that, though. That's my point. It's like that's two different universes that's a crossover. If you're
That's a real crossover.
Universe, you're just you're all in New York City. It's hard for
You're
me
just hanging around. Yeah, I mean everybody lives in New York, right?
Yeah,
and they're
it's
just
like-
hanging out. How can
Well, I
that be
mean,
a crossover?
because if you
They're all
have
just at
like
the same deli at the same time, that makes it a crossover.
Well, speaking of delis, you had Wolverine featuring in Kamala Khan's Mrs. Marvel, and Wolverine's tone would not work in that comic in the long run. But having him just come in like, "All right, Bob, I'm going to show you the ropes of superhero and then go do my own thing." That.
All right, so can I throw in like an educator? I'm going to be the stick in the mud thing.
Sure.
For a moment here.
Oh no.
So if we're going to talk different crossover types, we have so because I'm hearing all these things bounce around. So like C. Michael is talking about intercompany crossovers,
Right.
between companies,
And Ron
But
has
then we
mentioned
also
that
have
as-
intra-company crossovers.
Yes.
Within the same company.
I'd say that
we have inter-title crossovers where it's across multiple titles.
No, stop him. He's making a PowerPoint.
X-Men.
Right, they have like X-Men and Gen X or something like that.
And then you could have intra-title crossovers where within the same title you have individual characters or teams crossing over, kind of like the Spider-Man Fantastic Four example I gave you earlier. So all of these are legit crossovers.
Yes.
As my mentor Obi-Wan used to say, from a certain point of view. So
And only
it's-
Sith deals in
it's kinda
absolutes.
nice that- Only Sith, yes,
Yes.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yes, only, because that's absolutely true. Yes.
So once
So,
the
yeah,
book
you know,
that they
every-
cross over in continues to become an ongoing series, then it's no longer a crossover; it's just a book.
I'd say because that's when it becomes a stable,
say-
becomes its own
yeah.
entity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about in the 90s when Marvel and DC had their big epic battle?
Amalgam.
And then they amalgamed
Yeah.
all their. So what would that be? Would that be a crossover? Would that be
that was an awesome catastrophe.
Yeah. that was
a bad idea?
Yeah, as a crossover, some of it got turned into an
I'll be back
entity,
in
but
one
all of it was a
second. I'm
legal
getting bad
nightmare.
internet. Hold
Yeah.
My favorite crossover from the '90s, if we're speaking intercompany, is Punisher and Archie.
I saw that was on the list
90s? I
of
thought that was the
weirdo.
late 2000s.
No,
But it might have been in the 90s.
That is
I saw that
as
one.
'94. There was the
That is so
Punisher
funny
mistakes Archie for a drug dealer, and hunts him the f down.
Causes fans everywhere to wonder how the Punisher actually stayed alive this long if he was really that dumb.
Right.
There's
I mean,
another Archie
what did I miss about the
crossover with the
Punisher?
Predator here.
Yeah. Or talk about the time the Punisher hunted down Archie after he thought he was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought I was. That's what I thought I was walking back into. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember when that book came out in the stands. I was working in the comic store, and I just looked at that thing like where he's standing there as one. What was it like the school dance chaperone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, this is bizarre. This is like so cool.
Well, I mean, that's like
Yeah.
I think all the editors
Please
of
do,
Archie
Bouncer.
from like a certain point onward absolutely hate the idea of Archie, and then that's why we got Archie versus Alien, Archie versus Predator, Archie versus Punisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they did the future story where they killed him off too. So that's like the very end of hating Archie. It's like, I hate him so much, I'm gonna kill him.
Yep. Yeah. Ron has also mentioned that I am making up points with my references after calling him old in this week's blog post. So.
Whoa.
How did it turn out with Archie versus Predator? Because it seems like it would be pretty obvious, but I'd love to hear how Archie.
Like 2 pages.
I mean that Archie would win, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Archie just explained to him that it wasn't cool and hip. He was kind of being square. Coming and hunting.
Yes, somehow.
Well, supposedly it's really gory, is what it's.
Yeah, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I've not read it, but I've seen images, and it's gory for an Archie comic.
They do.
I mean, as much as you can go in that art style.
Because the Archie company is owned by Dark Horse, but they're very smart in their branding. Where you have your Archie company prints, which are your family-friendly ones, and then they'll slap the Dark Horse label on it for their crossovers.
Archie does. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, Archie's owned by Dark Horse?
Yeah,
Yeah.
surprisingly too.
Since when?
I believe it's been a little bit.
A couple days ago, I think.
Last week.
That is new. That is news to me. I learned.
That explains
something new.
Riverdale.
You guys,
Yeah, that's a crazy show.
you guys remember
Oh, please,
like the
something
early
explain Riverdale.
2000s when they had the JLA Avengers?
I've watched a few episodes. I've definitely dug it, but
Since at least 2011.
wow, okay. And now I know, and knowing is half the battle.
Yeah.
DC
So is-
Universe
wait, I got a
versus
question,
Masters
guys.
of the Universe.
Sure.
That's crazy.
I got a question. Okay.
That one was kind
Kong-
of cool. I didn't read it, but I remember the art being really cool for that. I think they had a
King-
Thundercats He-Man one. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that was on this list.
Go ahead, Dean.
Oh, I was going to ask, what do you guys think about Aliens versus Predator? Right. So, who's the villain?
That was probably my favorite. The original comic was probably my favorite comic of all. One of my.
It's a very cool idea, but
Yeah.
I always love asking people like, okay, who do you guys really see as the villain in that? Because you can think about it on one level and then think about another level. I'm just curious. What do you guys think?
Ripley's the bad guy.
If you read the original Dark Horse series, it would be the aliens, but
Yeah.
Ripley wasn't even in it. It
Yeah.
was was it Makoto? I can't think of it. It's a
Yeah, it was.
Japanese lady.
It was a Japanese character, and
Oh.
it was
Let me look her up.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because here's my take on it. Was always, your initial thought is, well, the aliens, but really, if you think about it, that I'm going to go into alignment here. If you think about the aliens, right, they're just like wasps, right? They're just existing,
doing their thing. Yep.
right? So the predators are the ones that go in and enslave things and conquer things and torture creatures. They had an alien queen in like a chamber, and they had enslaved her to have eggs to raise aliens so they could hunt them for sport, right? So you start thinking about it a little deeper and you go, wait a minute. The predators are actually the bad guys in that.
They're just collectors. They're just, trying to get trophies. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean,
but I mean, the aliens are like, it's like
No, we
walking
all
into
do it.
It's like walking into a wasp nest, right? It's
Yeah.
like the wasps aren't evil; they're just trying to
They're
survive.
territorial,
and
yeah.
You
It's not
walked
they're
into their
making a
nest.
conscious
You
decision
wouldn't
to
have
behave
got
in
killed
such a
if
way.
you didn't go into their area. Yeah, you'd have
I
been
mean,
fine.
they're not going to bother you if you don't bother them.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a snake.
I mean, remember when you were a kid and your parents were like, "Okay, you see that hornet's nest over there? Okay, well, if you don't bother them, they won't bother you."
And then, of course,
you
the
walk
10
over
minutes
there and
after your
stick your
dad
finger.
leaves, you're over there with a stick.
You're over there poking it. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Exactly.
You're the predator. See, you were doing just like
See?
the
Yeah.
you were trying to
Exactly.
That's kind of Dean's point. Say what you will about the Prometheus movies. They're Ridley Scott, so we have to accept them as somewhat canon, I guess.
Sure,
But
sure.
the aliens were engineered as weapons by. Did we get a name for the old
engineers.
The engineers.
The
Yeah.
engineers.
So
Yes.
they're not so much a bad guy as much as they are the gun of the bad guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas the predators they're fine hunting Arnold Schwarzenegger for sport. They're yeah.
Put up a good fight. Put up a
Danny
good fight.
Glover was better than
Chopper.
Schwarzenegger.
The
Get to the chopper.
handshake was the real hero of that movie.
In fact, it's not surprising that Schwarzenegger survived. It's surprising that Danny Glover did.
I know. That's
Oh, come on. Predator 2 was far better.
It was great. I love Predator 2.
It was fun.
Oh, look,
Bill Paxton was in it.
Yeah.
Game over,
scene,
man.
Game
Bill
over.
Paxton, who was also an alien. So, I mean,
Yes.
come on.
So it was
He transcends time.
You want to know a fun
He's your living crossover.
Bill Paxton has actually been killed by the Terminator, Predator, and Alien.
There you go. All Dark Horse.
He was one of the punks, yeah.
Yep.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So that's a claim to fame.
Oh yeah.
Was it Wild Bill Paxton? I think it was actually in the credits for the Terminator.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
He died in Tombstone too, didn't he? Wasn't Bill Paxton?
Did he?
No, he lived. He lived.
Did he?
I think he lived.
No.
No.
Did he die?
He died on a
It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah.
I remember him being shot, but I thought I remember him getting on a train.
No, he's the reason. He's the one that why everybody got.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
Welcome to Wednesday Wham, the life and times of Bill Paxton.
Bill died in a too, didn't he? But it was more like an emotional death.
Which one?
Big Love.
I didn't see that one.
Okay, so guys, I got another question for you, just to think about here. What about Kong versus Godzilla? I mean,
that's
really?
a great crossover.
Now hang on though.
Oh, Godzilla's gonna whoop butt.
Oh,
I mean,
please.
think about this.
Come on.
Well, it depends on the
can't even move
size,
his
because
neck.
sometimes you get a
Please.
big Godzilla, sometimes you
Okay,
get a
what if
little
you got
Godzilla.
Mecha Godzilla, just like you had like Mecha Streisand in like South Park?
South Park?
All we need is
And then
Robert
all
Smith.
we need to do is call in Robert Smith, exactly. And then sing What Would Brian Boitano Do? Yeah.
Yep, there you go. There you go. But okay, so Kong, correct me if I'm wrong, but originally, picture Kong like on top of the Empire State Building, and then picture how big Godzilla is.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's as big as the Empire State Building.
so think about it like, I mean, heat ray, boom, fried
He's
Kong.
eating
I mean,
Kong.
really,
it's
it's
a
like
little like a Twinkie.
So this is also where we get into some of the fun legality work that goes into crossovers because everyone is very protective of their intellectual property. When I believe it's Studio Toho or whoever owns Godzilla, I might be
Yeah, I believe it is Toho.
Yeah, proposed crossing over with when America did Khan, like, oh, you have Kaiju 2, we want to put these together. The American studio said, yeah, but Khan has to win.
Seriously?
Yeah, and that's and so there's a lot of American bad feelings over the last 40 years.
I guess so. Yeah,
but
yeah, I can see that.
Well, I still have bad feelings over the Matthew Broderick Godzilla film.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
there is that.
So when they originally did that, that's what ended up happening. So now, but this is some of the more national politics aren't necessarily going into the new MonsterVerse.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see if this is also something that's been decided by the lawyers, or if this is strictly just going to be a fun monster movie.
Okay.
What did you think of
they've already released? They've already said that neither one's going to win.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Boy,
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
but
you
to be,
spoiled.
but to be logical, I'm going with opposable thumbs. Sorry, I don't care.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
Wait a
talking
minute,
about
who's
everybody
got-
talks about
they both do,
Godzilla
don't
huh?
Oh, that's right. He's never mind. I'm
Yeah,
stupid.
and I mean, in Godzilla, they talk about the radiation of Godzilla, but you look how huge, and Kong in this one is bigger than the Empire State
Right.
Building Kong. So I don't think that's going to bother him so much. Plus, I've seen the preview. Kong's going to whip butt as much as he can anyway.
Okay.
Right, I think
We'll
it's
see.
like because they have been setting up the King of the Monsters storylines. I think it's going to be they're going to do a Civil War thing. We're going to have their equivalent of Baron Zemo. Like
Oh my
King,
God.
King Ghidorah or something is going to be like just come in and wreck something, and they're like, okay, we have a bigger problem. But
Oh yeah. Well, wait.
The
So you're
best
gonna
thing
say?
that could happen. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dean.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say you have the misunderstanding where they fight, but then they ultimately have to team up against a more deadly villain.
That's
Right.
what I assume they're gonna do.
they both find out their moms are named Martha.
Oh.
That's it.
Look, it's a
I thought
team-up
they'd find
movie.
out
We
their
don't-
names are Martha.
We don't think it's not a versus. It turns out to be a team up.
Yeah.
Dean gave me this one, so I was gonna go. Now I could use Dean's thing to roll into it. What if the ones that they team up to beat are the ones from the mech from Pacific Rim?
Ooh.
Because I was going
nice.
to say the best thing the thing that movie would need would be Pacific Rim, but yeah,
Yeah.
if you hadn't given a good lead into that, that would be awesome.
Or the Power
We
Rangers.
need more Pacific Rim.
I love the Power Rangers. Let's do it.
They
don't
have
love
that
the Power
Pacific
Rangers. I
Rim
hate it. I'd like
cartoon
to.
coming on Netflix.
Yeah.
Which one?
There's a Pacific Rim cartoon coming on Netflix like
Yeah.
this month.
Oh,
and
I
next
didn't
month.
know that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a
very
CGI
cool.
animated one. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Any of the original cast voicing anybody?
I have
From either
no
of the two
idea.
things?
I just saw a
I
trailer
think
for it.
it's
I'm
all
like,
new
oh, it's still
people
alive.
anyway, so.
Okay. It'd be cool to have like John Boyega like voicing one of them or something.
Yeah, I have no idea. I would maybe. Yeah, I don't know. And it looked like all new characters too, so I don't know if it's the same cast from the original movies or if it's just new stuff.
Okay.
Anyone's seen the cinematic gem Atlantic Rim?
Oh,
Atlantic
No.
Rim.
Mystery Science Theater lampoons it. It's gold.
Really?
Atlantic Rim. It's
How much gold?
it's
I looked that up a minute
Bitcoin.
ago.
It's
Gold
Bitcoin
mine?
level.
we have joining us the venerable Mickey Clausen. Say hello. How are you, sir?
Hello. Can you hear me this
Mickey!
time?
Yeah, we
Oh,
got
you
you.
sound great.
Yeah, new microphone.
Yes,
All right.
excellent. Mickey, what are you working on right now? It can be Silverline or otherwise.
And where are you located?
Where do you live?
I'm working on the
Which
cover for number 2 of Twilight.
Yes. Which is
So-
coming very soon to Kickstarter.
Well, you got a sneak peek, Roland. Almost done with it.
Awesome. And so what you do? You do pencils, inks, colors. What do you do? Tell our boring fans.
Twilight, I'm just coloring right now.
Coloring. All right.
Yeah.
And where are you located geographically?
Just outside of San Diego.
We gotta be. You're the only representation, I think, down that side of the country. So we got a fantastic mix all over. We are talking about crossovers tonight, and you are welcome to join in. We've been all over the place already in this 50 minutes of discussion of crossovers. We still have not 100% decided what defines a crossover.
I don't think we know.
I think we decided there's different levels of crossover. So
I think that's what the teacher said. Yeah.
yeah, you have your intercompanies where someone reaches out to Dark Horse and like, hey, we want to have the Punisher kill Archie, or then you have your intro company where the editor of Spider-Man goes to the editor of X-Men and says like, hey, I want to have Spider-Man in your thing for an issue, and then you have your intro titles where the guy who's running the X titles is like, okay, we're gonna have X Factor and X Force come together for this issue and then split back off from that point forward.
Didn't know this was so complicated. I didn't know this was so complicated.
Welcome to Wednesday.
It wasn't that complicated before the show started.
Right.
Jeez.
I know.
So the question I have is when we have the
I think he's blaming me.
No, I'm just bringing levity to the group as always.
But to answer your question, John, it looks like this is kind of a different story in the Pacific Rim universe.
Okay.
So it's not gonna
All right.
have any-
So different characters and such.
Yeah,
it's
I
anime
think it's
style
another
kinda.
story. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I got a double. Dean, you didn't fall and hit your camera, did you? Are you still with us?
I'm still with you.
Okay.
I am experimenting with
okay.
controls. So you guys proceed. Ignore me for
Boring
now.
him. That's what that means.
I thought he passed out and knocked his camera over or something.
No,
You cross over to the other side of the room.
I was just thinking his cat's gonna show up. I'm taking over.
One of the things talking about crossovers, in a different category, Tim, which isn't necessarily a category, but one of the things that I've always seen two different piles of crossovers, ones that had long-lasting repercussions after the crossover is done, intercompany or intracompany, versus those that just wrap up and stay within their own little published 4-issue or whatnot.
Right.
For example, like Secret Wars, that radiated into like Fantastic Four because Ben Grimm stayed on the Beyonder world, and that's where She-Hulk came in, and that ran from there.
Yep.
Even like the Batman Spawn crossover, Batman whipped a batarang at Spawn's face, and sliced the thing open in the center. And then in the Spawn title for the longest time, he had his face sutured up with a what was it, a shoelace.
But that was
So that, you know, at least there was some like lasting ramifications.
I'd say
when I was in junior high, they had the one-shot Spider-Man and Wolverine crossover, which dealt with the death of Ned Leeds, which was huge in the Spider-Man book. So it's like some of them do wrap up nice and neat. One of my other favorite ones, drawn by John Royal and inked by Phil Moy, was the Danger Girl G.I. Joe crossover. I mean, that's pretty cool. You know, that's a cool concept. But you don't really see Abby Chase running around in the Joe universe. You don't see the Joes in the Danger Girl universe because it's agreed to, kind of like Tim was saying with the IPs. You know, it's like done with that one story, or if they do a second arc.
I mean, that's
another category that we could throw in there.
And I kind of touched on also the idea of events versus street level crossover, where events are typically going to get their own collection. So
just too many subcategories.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of storytelling, and if you can get your editor to okay it, absolutely do whatever the heck you want, because that's what it's about, just writing what you want to and having fun with it. But sometimes the lawyers and the property, like Dean say, get too calculated.
Yes, no calculation.
To use modern examples, what's happening in Marvel right now, in Hickman, who is currently the guy running the X family, you had a street level, just easy tie-in between Gen X, or no, it was X Factor and X-Men, where X Factor brings in a brood egg, and then the X-Men take care of that in the next issue. Very simple, one and done. And then you have their big event, which is the Kingdom Black, where Spawn's symbiote is bringing a space god to Earth, and everyone has to deal with the ramifications of that. And that'll change all the series going forward. And so you're getting its own collection, which is going to be its own event with all Marvel characters involved in some sort of story that way.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about the ramifications that you guys are talking about this, how one plays into the next, and very often that yes, the story is continued or actually is really part of the storylines. But it seems to me, and this is, I'm going to play ignorant here, I'm not really pretending that much. When you smash up DC with Marvel, when you have universes collide, that can't be canon. You can't go on with that. You have to. So how is that resolved?
It is until the lawyers tell you to not make it canon.
Right.
Cut it out.
In the Marvel world, Avengers, what was it, the Justice League Avengers? That was George Perez did that years ago. That didn't have any. I think wasn't it like an alternate universe or side off story? I don't think it had any ramifications.
Yeah, I feel like it almost always has to be, right? Because you can't suddenly pretend that Superman is going to come fight alongside the Avengers. Because
there was actually talk at that point, and of course companies could never agree to it. They were talking and bantering around the idea about like trading characters for like a year. So so let's just take Superman, because you said Superman.
Yeah.
So Superman would now be in the Marvel universe for a year, while Spider-Man's in the DC universe for a year. That would have been pretty cool. Obviously, we could see why something like that wouldn't necessarily happen. But I am glad during the Marvel DC crossover that it was the one true original Spider-Man that was there, Ben Reilly.
Yeah. Yes.
So.
And I thought
Wait, what?
I think was it Justice League Avengers or was it DC Marvel? It's been a while.
Marvel.
It was JLA Avengers.
Yeah.
I was talking DC Marvel. Sorry.
Really cool.
But I think it's the same. I think it was called that. I can't remember if it was called. I have to look at it now.
DC versus Marvel.
Yeah.
Is that what it
that's
was?
the one I
Okay.
was referencing.
Well, that was, they actually had
on my
fans vote on what characters they wanted to win, or they had.
Wasn't that the amalgam thing?
Well, it was a setup.
Amalgam came out of it.
Amalgam. Yeah, Amalgam came out of it. There were two levels, if I remember correctly. One set of face-offs were predetermined. Another set were going to be voted upon. So
I believe that's what I remember too.
And then they just had the George Perez stuff. That's all I wanted.
Okay, yeah, that was JLA Avengers.
And then
Avengers
JLA. So
Brent, go ahead, Brent. Your mic's a little quiet, so it's hard to hear you, Brent.
Oh, yeah, the JLA Avengers was the Perez book, and that was I would say early aughts, because Kurt Busiek was at MegaCon in Orlando that year, and they had these really nifty cards. And I got his autograph and on the JLA Avengers card, and I was like, "Thanks so much for what you're doing with the Vision Scarlet Witch." And he's like, "Yeah, okay." And I'm like, "Holy crap! I'm a 30-year-old nerd. I got nothing to live for." And I walked away. The thing I remember most from that experience.
Okay. We are at the halfway point. We're going to do our cut to a review here in just a minute, but I wanted to give Haley a second to tell us what she's working on. Haley, I know you're just trying to talk over all of us the whole time.
No, so rude. I'm sorry.
Shut up.
Let us get a word in, Haley. My goodness. Tell us what you're working on, and then I will probably end up switching, I think, because but I'm not going to make those decisions. So what are you working on right now?
Yeah, so this is page 12 of Bear. So I'm doing all the art for this is the first issue of who knows how many, but yeah, we're working on some inks for that. So the story it's set in like a Winnie the Pooh Toy Story kind of world. So all these characters are stuffed animals, and yeah, and they're kind of struggling to know what to do because their kid has gone missing. So that's the story
and a
here.
Punisher type character is going to show up soon, right?
Mm-hmm. And the Predator.
The Predator.
Yeah.
And Jughead.
What program are you using for everybody that's super interested? Like, because people like to know that. How are you? You're not inking with real ink. You are inking on.
Yeah.
No, it's real ink.
Yeah. It's yeah. I'm drawing on my computer screen. Yeah. I did do that the other day. I thought I was holding my pen. Tablet pen, and I was holding a ink pen, and I like drew on my screen.
You're like, this looks really dark.
Yeah.
What is what program are you using?
Yeah, so I'm using Photoshop.
Oh, Photoshop. Okay. All right. Yep. Very cool. And see, Michael, you are arting as well, and Mickey, you're arting, and Tommy, are you as well?
No, everybody else can.
Okay.
No, I'm just gonna let you go, Tom.
What? Oh, you just want to see.
You don't have to switch it. I know that. See, you like to. Are you gonna stick around for the second half? Or are you gonna?
No, I'll stay here.
You're gonna stick around? Okay. Yeah. So folks out there, we will try to show you some more art as it's being made. You are seeing the creation of a Silverline comic right before your eyes.
From the chat, John is not here, but he had a question asked for him. So we'll just disregard that.
Okay, if John comes back, we'll pass that along to him. Yes, the calmer, quieter second half of the Wednesday Wham. Thank you for the introduction, Tim. We are talking about crossovers. We have yet to fully define them. Tim's doing a great job, and we all just keep chiming in and not listening to him and saying, "What about and another?" So I'm doing my job the best I can to wrangle our conversation around crossovers. We have talked about universes colliding. We've talked about people, characters poking their head into another character's title and saying hello. We've talked about characters smashing together and becoming a new title and all things around that. We will continue that conversation. We hope to have your comments and your input as the discussion goes along.
At the end of this 45 minutes, we're going to have the definition of crossover.
I'm going to get. I need a whiteboard here. We need to be writing this down.
We will
for legal reasons, I would say we're going to have
a definition.
For legal reasons.
Remember, there's 6 of us, right? And when John comes back, we'll have 7 definitions.
7 definitions.
The answer.
For legal reasons, we'll have a definition.
The answer may surprise you.
It'll probably surprise each of us too. So.
Maybe our definitional crossover.
Hey, Scott.
Yes.
May I throw a grenade into the discussion just because I like doing that?
Nothing less.
Sure.
Okay, you ready?
Here it comes.
You ready? Batman versus Iron Man. Who would win? Why? Go.
Oh.
Ooh.
See,
anybody.
See, Scott's an Iron Man fan, so I feel like he's got some reasoning here.
I think if Iron Man got the sneak up on him, he just shoots him in the back with one of his cannons, and Batman's gone.
Not even.
I mean, it's not like he's got armor or anything.
Dude, but it's Batman. Think about it.
He's gonna he's a dude in a piece of cloth cape.
No. You got it all wrong. He's basically Sherlock Holmes times 10 meets a ninja.
Oh, he would see him.
So basically, he would anticipate every move and counter move way ahead of time. He would set a complete trap for Iron Man. Iron Man would think he was going to win, and then EMP, boom, Iron Man's armor's done. It's gone, and then it's mano a mano, and we all know, Bruce versus Tony. It's over with.
Well, that's before let Scott get in and defend his boy, but
I want Scott. I want Scott to throw out.
So here's also my thought. That was it. That both their superpowers, both of their superpowers are preparation and money.
Money, yes.
Yes.
Who's got more?
But I feel like Iron Man, though, whereas Batman is always thinking about how to defeat his opponents and do certain traps, Iron Man's always thinking about how he can protect himself. So he's going to have some sort of contingency for an EMP because he's going to be thinking about like
he's going to be in one of those little shield things,
or he might have some sort of like
another suit could come in,
and he'd have like an analog radio set up to pull in one of his like iron shield suits or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Or you just pull out a gun, a real gun, one with a bullet, and just shoot him. You destroyed my armor. Here's a gun. Bam!
That's where
but Batman has dodged bullets, though.
You have a system bug. You have Batman would find some way to weaponize Magneto's power.
Yeah.
No way. He would. No, I just can't. I'm sorry.
Well, here's the difference. I think, and maybe this is just fanboy of one versus fanboy of another. But that being said, as the characters are written, the strategic mastermind falls to Bruce Wayne rather than to Tony Stark. We have a more disciplined mind overall, and someone who is a warrior pretending to be a playboy rather than a playboy pretending to be a warrior. So there's a little bit of that going on.
Good.
What do you think?
Good. That's nice.
All right, Scott, what's the answer?
You make an excellent point, and I'm not going to lie. It would be it's a matchup of titans.
Yes, it is.
Of incredible minds, and
But it would still be Iron Man.
but it would,
T. Michael's not having it. He's like, that's it.
No, I'm Batman.
Batman.
see, I would wonder because so when we go to the tactician, Bruce Wayne, yes, tactical, but the genius of Tony Stark, I feel like though he would anticipate the anticipation.
He would anticipate the EMT coming. Yeah,
very nice.
Very nice. I kind of also get where Scott's coming from because I just finished reading Secret Empire, and we saw that Iron Man prepared for his own death at the hands of Steve Rogers and created his AI backup, which is just he downloaded his entire consciousness into a machine. And he's prepared for even his best friend killing him.
But if he dies, he still loses.
but he then just comes back as his consciousness controlling the Iron Armada.
That doesn't count.
So the actual comic, the actual trade, the 100-page trade of this Batman versus Iron Man would just be them going. And then another panel of them going, but I would do that. And then
that should be hilarious if it was like this fallen arc. It's this fallen arc, and then it just cuts to the last page, and it's them at a chess table having this conversation.
Yeah.
And I want to be on Amazon ordering something.
Yeah.
This. If I get that suit.
So
let me come from this angle though.
Okay.
Iron Man, Tony Stark's pretty much out there. Everybody knows who Tony Stark is. Everybody knows who Iron Man is, but nobody knows who Batman is. So Batman's going to have more time to prepare for his enemy than Tony is, because he doesn't know where Batman's coming from.
Unless we go with the extremist line from way back when Tony had all the connection with all the cameras and everything electronic. Remember that?
Yeah. I like
figure it out. There'd be some. He'd like.
But then the counterpoint to that is then what if Batman does Batdar, where he connects to like every tower in?
Oh yeah.
There is that indeed.
Yeah, I'm on that side.
Roland says something which I think I would agree with. Bruce versus Tony, Bruce wins. Iron Man versus Batman. Iron Man wins.
That's
Oh, I'm switching back to that side. Yeah.
No, you can't just make a statement like that in the comments and then walk away, Roland.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Because the thing,
It doesn't work that way.
the thing is,
No.
Bruce both as a unassisted intuition. Because Tony has his intuition, which he creates a lot of assistance for, but Bruce is just very intuitive himself, and also he was trained by the great Ra's al Ghul and knows how to kill you with so many different fingers.
In the comic book world, though, there is more of a stress on Steve Rogers teaching Tony Stark how to.
This is true.
In the movie world, it's not even really discussed.
Yeah,
He just knows what he's up.
there's moments where Tony learned how to fight from Steve and Natasha as well.
Yes.
Imagine Tony
Well,
during Natasha's
what if
work
they
on
don't
Rana.
fight? What if they don't fight and they have to use their sidekicks to fight? So we say, look, we just can't fight because we're going to
Ironheart versus Robin.
Or Robin. I'm sorry.
Pepperpot versus Robin.
Wait, which Robin? Nick, hold on.
Okay.
Which Robin? Yeah.
The first one.
Grayson. Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson versus Jim Rhodes.
Greatest of all Robins.
Yeah.
That's a matter of opinion.
I think.
Anyway.
Oh, my opinion's the right one though.
But I think
We're gonna have a fight. Why is it gotta be so?
if I can call it back though, the idea of Iron Man just pulling out an actual gun, I think that the idea of like superheroes are so taught the rules of you be better than them, take them alive, and then we got Red Hood or like Damian Wayne. He's like just kills the guy. He's like jokes like you can't do that. He's like, well, too bad it's happening.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
We could have broken spine Bruce Wayne versus bedridden paralyzed Tony Stark. And put their beds next to each other. And...
All right.
we have
Jim Gordon as Batman.
Way off.
Which Iron Man?
Pepper Potts in the Iron Man suit, and
if you're gonna take the Jim Gordon Batman, how about teaming that up against when it was Alfred Pennyworth from the Batman TV
driving the
show.
Batmobile?
When he donned it from the TV show, make those two fight.
Man, you just made this crossover. Now it's like a 500-page
While
crossover.
Bruce Wayne is drinking. Wait. While Bruce Wayne is with Miss Kitka drinking a glass of
Miss Kitka
milk. He's drinking milk while he's on his date
Milk,
with her.
indeed.
Say we get the weird opioid Bruce Wayne and the demon in the bottle Tony Stark.
Sitting here imagining Bruce Wayne with the old in out.
It's the junkie versus the drug.
Ultra-violent Bruce Wayne.
Maybe we pull it back. Maybe it's like them in high school.
Yes.
Bruce Wayne, if they were still adolescent, Bruce Wayne and adolescent Tony Stark.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Yeah.
Seriously, man.
And then I'm going to go back to The Simpsons, which is what I always do. Maybe his carousel reversal spray will work on Iron Man. That's a cut with Krusty the Clown as was it Clown Face? Was that the episode? It's a Milhouse and Bart are watching television late at night, and Krusty's a villain, and it's Adam West, and he's got him on a carousel. We're going to literally blush ourselves to death.
Oh, no, that's great.
It's got carousel reversal spray. Gold.
That's great.
More gold. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I say grenade, you know what I mean, Scott. Right? Grenade. That's,
yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
The shrapnel has just eviscerated everyone in there.
I got so excited and sweaty in this conversation I had to roll up my sleeves. That was.
I thought you were about ready to throw down with someone.
All right.
Wow.
I don't care where you live.
See, Michael and I were preparing to take you on.
I think I got Scott's back in here because I mean, especially if it's post Ultron Tony Stark, where he's weaponized Earth's gravity. He's like, so we got two questions in chat. First one from Amy for John.
Okay.
John, the comic lesson you taught her on the napkin, was that a crossover or just a squabble about rights? And can you give us context?
Say that again.
The comic lesson you taught her on the napkin, was that a crossover or just a rights squabble?
Okay, so Amy is my girlfriend. So when we first started
dating,
what's that? Full disclosure, yes.
Disclosure.
So since Tim is asking for context on this, We went to dinner one place. This is back when you were allowed to eat out in like restaurants
In
and
the
stuff
before times.
pre-pandemic.
There was a time that we did
Wow, I
that.
remember that. Kind
Before
of.
the plague was unleashed upon us, yes. So we were talking Marvel Universe films, the MCU, and I literally took like a napkin or one of the play settings and took a pen and I was sketching everything out, how this ties into this and this ties into this and this is separate. And I was talking about how Sony had bought the rights to Spider-Man back in the 90s versus the X-Men franchise over in Fox, and you know, like how those were all divided, the different IPs. So if you're gonna go with WandaVision, so
careful.
What's that?
Careful.
There could be some potential with people thinking that there could be crossovers, but could not necessarily be crossovers. We will find out within the next 2 episodes, I guess. But that would be definitely more rights based than crossover based. But with a little bit of crossover in the mix.
That is interesting because you're right, because it all comes down to, okay, these are all the comic book world, so it's not a crossover. And then when they go out to the movies and then they come back, we're back to our odd definition of, is it a crossover? But it's certainly I'm going to go with feelings here. It feels like it because
nothing more than feelings.
Yes.
For the fans who know they all should be like, they could walk down the street, like you said, meet in a deli in New York City, but they've been apart because of the movies, because of rights, because of the legal who owns whomst and where they should be. So when we see these little things, hint, stuff that's happening on WandaVision, yes, it feels like, okay, now it's like a crossover, but it's coming back together.
And we still don't know if it really is or not. So it's like the ultimate tease.
Yes.
And that brings like a certain level of suspense and excitement to it.
Yes.
I know for the first couple episodes of WandaVision, there were a lot of people posting and crabbing like little petulant children online. You drop them all. We want to binge them.
Yeah.
You know, because this generation doesn't have any patience.
Right. I appreciate
back in the day. Back in the day when we were kids, bam, you know, we had to wait until Friday without a VCR, and we liked it. You know,
In the
snow.
If you follow the comics, you have to wait a month.
Yeah, exactly. So I really think WandaVision has been exceptional due to the protracted release schedule of once a week. If you binged it, it would not have gotten the excitement, the depth of interest, or really, I think, the conversation going the way that it has. If it was just put out there in one shot, I don't think that it would have become the like cultural phenomenon that it has.
That's the whole thing with like appointment television. Everyone is tuning in Friday night too.
Yep.
And then Twitter blows up afterwards.
Friday.
All right, Mr. Not a Chance, Michael Lanning.
Yeah, no. What? Two things about that though. One, Scott, you told me we couldn't talk about WandaVision. You fussed at me last time I brought it up. That's one. Two,
I like that.
Some shows don't deserve that slow burn though. Some shows, they need to get out there because otherwise it's just, WandaVision is not that. WandaVision needs a slow burn. It earns it. But a lot of these other shows will not earn that. So I think it depends on the show.
I agree completely. Yeah. I didn't have, well, I still don't, well, no, now I do have Netflix. But at the time I didn't have Netflix. But when they put out Cobra Kai, season 1 and 2 DVD, I bought the DVD 2-pack for the first 2 seasons, and I literally binged the first 2 seasons in one night. So that was completely bingeable. And I don't feel like I lost anything on it.
No.
But WandaVision, like you said, yes, it's definitely.
I've enjoyed it too much. In fact, WandaVision has actually made my daughter more interested in seeing and knowing about superheroes because you have Scarlet Witch, who is actually the epitome of a female hero.
Yeah.
That's what we need. Somebody like Scarlet Witch, more and more. I'd like to see her elevated. I don't think we need a Black Widow movie. There, I said it. You can hold it against me. But
somebody just sounded like Andrew Dice Clay. Who was that?
I think that was D.
Oh,
That was me.
But yeah.
But yeah, whatever. Anyway,
No,
Cobra
see,
Kai-
Michael, you're right though.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch, amazing. You're absolutely right.
That's good. I think it goes to the writing because there's something lost that you don't need to write for commercial breaks anymore. You don't need your act breaks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And WandaVision has had big breaks.
Yeah.
That is not like, because when you binge, a lot of times it's like end of episode, next episode, and it's they just, and that's fine. That's however it's written. WandaVision has been like big, and then you wait, and it's like it's an act, it's a scene, it's a whatever you want, a curtain, and it's written to fit that way. It's just fantastic because we don't have commercial breaks anymore.
Well, see, that's what my wife and I did with the Umbrella Academy when we watched it. We decided not to watch except for one every week. You could binge it, but it was just better because then you have your discussion. You could still talk about what was going to happen to that. And I think that was actually better slow burn too.
Yeah.
Instead of binging it.
Yeah, I'll say that's probably the thing I liked Castlevania because Castlevania you just sit down and watch all the way through WandaVision as that slow burn. So my concern is going to be Falcon and Winter Soldier. Is it going to feel the same kind of mystique as WandaVision, or is it going to feel more actiony like Castlevania, and you want to go straight to the next episode right away because there's not too much burn?
It's going to be Mandalorian style.
Yeah.
Mando.
When does Falcon Winter Soldier come out? Middle of March.
March 11th.
Isn't that 2 weeks after WandaVision ends?
Yeah. I'll say it's like March 11th, something like that.
But speaking of which, we're going to bring Star Wars in because that's what we do here.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
So
now, back burner.
Bubba Fett showing up in Mandalorian crossover.
Oh.
Excellent.
You started something now.
Here we go.
I'd say
because anything in Star Wars a crossover?
I'd
It's
say
just a whole big universe.
Well, if you're just into watching the movies, but if you're into like the comics and the books, where the Mandalorian actually takes more from the books than it does from the movies, you kind of get into that same territory where it's not a named character. It's kind of like the NCIS JAG situation, where it's a crossover into a spinoff.
Right.
Because now we're going to get the Boba Fett spinoff.
And actually, yeah, and now that you're saying that, Tim, that makes me wonder the question. Okay, so Boba Fett, is that a crossover? I'm not sure if it's really a crossover because it'd be crossing over from what?
Well, exactly.
into
It's
Mandalorian.
like an insert.
He's not coming from anything.
It's an insert into a spinoff.
Yes.
But a proper crossover would be something like the Darth Vader comic, which is running at the same time as Boba Fett, and Boba comes in to claim the bounty on Darth.
All right, okay, forget Boba Fett then. How about Ahsoka Tano?
Because that was coming right after Clone Wars, probably.
After Rebels, huh?
After Rebels, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Clone Wars had the most recent season, but timeline-wise, Rebels, yes. Star Wars.
So like if you're talking Ahsoka, then you could also be talking Bo-Katan.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bo-Katan was amazing. You know, Ahsoka was great. My kid is like the world's biggest Ahsoka fan. So.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Yeah. Sorry,
So,
another question from the chat, real quick. Besides the Archie Predator crossover, any other genre crossovers, comedy to horror? And I mean, we gave you comedy gold with the chess match between Iron Man and Batman. But also, I have the perfect genre, medium, and just species crossover, I believe, in the history of comics. Coming from 1993, Godzilla versus Charles Barkley.
Oh, wow. I don't think I remember that one.
That's pretty cool.
Don't help me if that lizard won.
So there's a comic where Charles Barkley played basketball against Godzilla.
Did Godzilla have the arms like the big
no opposable thumbs?
Yes.
Which arms?
Still doing he's doing the little the Tyrannosaurus Rex arms.
Let me see if I can just kind of get.
He really blocked, you know.
Of course, that also was paired at the same time as the Nike commercials. I believe this was a Nike. This is a Nike Dark Horse crossover into Godzilla Charles Barkley.
Wow.
So was Charles Barkley like embiggened?
You know.
Godzilla was shrunken.
Oh, okay. Yes, we got. I'm going to pull up a panel on the stream. So if you're watching the stream
Good.
here, guys, you
Okay.
can see it.
I'm gonna have to switch over here. Use my other screen.
Look at you with your fancy dual monitors.
Me? Oh no, it's my phone.
Well, it's more than my Commodore 64 here has. So no.
Do you see us all as in like green lines on an Apple II screen?
Oh well, you know what? Oh, speaking of which, I gotta say I did love in WandaVision. Sorry, I'm going back to WandaVision when
Don't
they
be
actually did show a Commodore 64 and a Commodore 64 monitor, and I said to my kid, I'm like, ooh, I still have that in my parents' basement back at their house.
Yeah,
because I do have that original Commodore 64.
And your son
monitor.
said, "You still live with your parents."
No, that stopped when I was 29. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
okay, sorry.
Come on.
29, 7
So
months,
so
whatever.
I do have our splash panel of Godzilla versus
I say what we're
Charles
Godzilla's dunking
Barkley.
on Charles Barkley.
So we got Charles Barkley yelling "In your face, Godzilla" as he dribbles around him.
He's got game. Godzilla does not know what to do.
We don't ever get to see the reviews. We don't.
So normal Charles Barkley, but little Godzilla.
Does anybody know? If Brent were here, he's a filmmaker. He might know. Do you know how they made the original Gojira noise in the first movie?
It's an elephant trumpet sound. You know, an African elephant sound blended with electronic filters, if I'm not mistaken. But it's definitely the sound of an elephant trumpeting.
I heard it was blended with a leather glove being rubbed across the top of a timpani.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll buy that.
I heard an interview because they were talking about this was the movie that just not the Matthew Broderick one, but the one that came out of 2013, 2014.
Oh yes. The reboot of Godzilla, the recent reboot of Godzilla before King of the Monsters. Right.
Yeah, they were trying to. They were talking about the sound effects and how it's evolved and all this sort of stuff, and how they don't want to tell everybody what goes into making the sound effects because they don't want to ruin the mystique. But yeah, you're right. There's animal roars. At one point there was a squeaking. In one of the iterations, there was a car door, and that they recorded. But yeah, they also now they can create sounds that are sub and super, and then they slow them down and it creates a weird, I don't know, all that sort of stuff. So if anybody knows about sound and how it affects us, but it's really cool that they can get those recordings and they electronically adjust them so that then we can hear them and it like almost more feel them than hear them. But going from a leather glove and a elephant to digital everything, which is cool. Sorry, I digress. We are
it's a crossover of sound.
It is a crossover of sound.
Yeah. Is Captain Pike showing up in Discovery a crossover?
What? Captain Pike shows up in Discovery?
Sorry,
I haven't finished it, but I did know about that.
Spoiler. I apologize.
Well, that because we if for it to be like an intertidal crossover, where because he'd be coming from a different Star Trek, of the Star Trek universe.
Yeah,
I guess a strict definition, yes, but general definition.
But also,
Star Trek is Star Trek.
But also at the same time, there was no additional running Star Trek series for him to jump in from.
Right.
So that'd be like.
Yeah. So do you need something?
Well,
to jump from. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, but then you got to think, how long has it been since the movies? So
Right.
I mean, the newer movies with Chris Pine.
Right.
Those are not. Those are in a different reality.
Those are not canon.
Oh, it doesn't count for that. I don't know. I can't keep up with that.
No,
I just know she's
Star Trek has its own battle world now.
Right.
That's the Kelvin universe. It's awful. It's
I'm
completely.
Forget this. I'm going back to DS9.
DS9 was pretty cool.
And there's a crossover.
It actually was.
I love the fact that DS9 even have a mirror universe
Yep.
storyline.
Yep.
The Mirror
Mhm.
Universe are always my favorite. I mean, that was
Which-
my favorite with the original Trek and you know
Mhm.
Mirror Universe. Kira Nerys.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, right.
sorry, Amy, you didn't hear that.
my buddy, I'll say his name. My buddy Kyle. There, Kyle. You heard your name. You're famous. Deep Space Nine is his favorite. That's what he
as if he's
got him into
listening.
Star Trek. He will fight to the very end about Deep Space Nine being the best. But yes, Chief O'Brien, I think he holds because he's
He was in everything, wasn't
he's in it. I think he's in the most, right? Because he's Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and then they insert him into Mirror Universe original series, right? Not Mirror Universe. They insert him in the original series.
Did they?
Yeah, there's an episode where he and
Well, there was definitely Cisco and Dax.
Yeah,
that wound up in the original, where they interspersed them.
I think Chief O'Brien goes, which that's a
Might
whole
have been there too.
talk about like poor like writing and continuity and all that, like because he's a chief for a while and then he's got lieutenant rank on him for a while, and then there's an episode where Commander Riker calls him lieutenant, and it anyways it's
And
all-
I'll tell you why, because he
Smiley.
probably said something that got him bumped down.
Yeah.
Noah O'Brien.
And yeah, in the parallel universe, that's where he was nicknamed Smiley.
Yes. Okay, so
well, then they had that episode where they went back to original Trek. Remember?
Yeah,
and Jadzia Dax was
Yeah, they walked around in the background, and then
uniform,
and
and that
was
I
upset
swear
and something to do about how the Klingons look funny. You remember?
Yep.
Yes.
The Klingons look funny. That's funny.
Yeah, and they don't explain.
I have to go back and see.
They don't explain because there's an episode of Deep Space Nine where Worf says we don't talk about that.
Yeah, that's right. That's
It's
what he
outsiders.
said.
Oh, I do remember that.
Because the Discovery Klingons look completely
Way different.
Discovery's 10 years before Kirk, and so anyways, I think they're supposed to explain all that. That's all things because there's a lot of things people complain about on Discovery, that it's going to get they're saying give us time, we'll explain it. But okay, crossovers.
I think
let me throw one last thing in there. Okay, so all this Trek talk has like made me and talk about binging. I want to go back now and binge the best Trek series ever, the Orville. And
Orville's great.
I love the Orville. I think I may be doing that this weekend. Two
If you
seasons. I got
can't
the
see
DVD.
if we're not going to get any more Next Generation, Orville's just as
Oh yeah,
That's
I could
Next
totally.
Generation.
That fits totally in that universe.
He could,
So-
that ship could be part of that timeline.
Yep.
You guys watch Lower Decks?
I have
Yeah,
not
that's funny
yet.
stuff.
Oh, if you give it like the first episode, I was like, give me a break.
And my wife hates it, but I think it's pretty funny.
If you are a Trek fan, there are some obscure reference. It takes place in the Next Generation era. They make some great obscure references to the entire Star Trek universe, and so pay attention. And I want to rewatch it because I know I was laughing through a lot of them. So I wholeheartedly recommend Lower Decks, especially if you are a Trek nerd, because it's good. There's a lot of inside jokes in that show.
What bothered me about it was I could see it like if it was Ferengis or something like that. It's hard for me to see, Starfleet officers.
Well, that's the whole point of the lower. It's the people you never see. Because I've always wondered, like watching Star Trek, it's always the A crew. Like having been on a ship, you have people on watch, on duty. You always had Picard, Riker, Troy, Data, Geordi, Worf, all on watch at the same time.
Yeah, where's the guy who skated through OCS?
Right, yeah. Where's the other guy? Because when Riker doesn't,
you mean the guy named Guy?
Yeah.
And once he got a name, he was afraid of being killed off.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's the other?
Oh wait,
You're
sorry,
talking
that
about
was
the best
Galaxy
Star Trek
Quest.
movie, Galaxy Quest.
Yeah,
Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh my
I
God.
think I just saw
they're
that
making a
they're
sequel.
doing another Galaxy
Yeah,
Quest.
but there's
Oh,
no
that'd be so great.
Alan Rickman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Now you're
I'm
gonna
sorry
make me
to
cry.
derail this one again, but it's too much fun not to. My junior high days when I would listen to Dr. Demento Which my favorite song on Dr. Demento was the ABCs of Dead Russian Leaders by Tim Cavanaugh, which is really hard to find. But there was a Star Trek bit that I absolutely loved where they said, and now we're going to beam down to the surface with every important character and Yeoman Smith. Guess who dies?
Who's gonna die?
Yep. So it's like with every important member and Yeoman. So yep, there you go. I bet he was wearing red.
Right. Original series red, then things got okay. So yeah, there's
Next Generation, they took it back.
Right.
They're like, yeah, we're taking red back.
We're gonna claim it for us. This is our
Because you wear red if you go through tactical school at the academy.
Right. So we will our definition is still. I think we're giving good influence in instances where we may not be able to always define it, but when we see it, we can say that's a crossover or it's a form of a crossover. So yes, like people from one Star Trek area stepping onto another show or another ship.
I think also it's to the point where it's so expected now. As I mean, like back in the 60s, you'd be like, that's Captain America and Iron Man, my God.
Yeah.
but how many times can you do that for 80 some odd years? And have the same impact right now? It's like, where are the other characters in this universe? Why are they not popping in together?
Right.
Hey, Tim, you said 60s, right?
Yeah. Right.
And we were talking like, Scott was doing his little Batusi and everything back over there earlier.
Sure.
Greatest Batman TV show crossover, the 2-part with Green Hornet and Kato.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That definitely constitutes crossover.
Yes.
So
what about
that was oh my God, I love those 2 episodes.
Scooby-Doo cameo appearances by everybody.
Yes.
Batman and Robin.
Oh, you're bringing me back to that again, huh?
Yeah.
My voice was like messed up for 3 days after that.
Work up, Raggy.
Yes. Crossovers and cameos aplenty. Hey, crew out there, all of you on the show here, it's all guys. Yes. We're getting towards the end of the show. I'm going to start wrapping up here. I don't want to cut you short if you have any parting thoughts, but I want to be sure to remind our viewers, our diehard fans out there, that coming up in March, mark your calendars, Twilight Grim #2 and Friar Rush #2 are coming. They're just getting it. Just the icing on the cake is being put on them right now. They are almost ready to go. Those will be ready by the time we launch a Kickstarter. So watch your inbox for news from Kickstarter, and make sure you are subscribed and following and all those good things to all of our social media sites and YouTube. So you will be the first to know. And those of you watching, you're the first to know that those titles are coming. But make sure you stay on top of that, which leads me into social media, Instagram and Facebook. We are currently making a big push to try to get to 2,500 likes on Facebook. So the way we do that is if you tell your friends, you can suggest and share our pages with your friends. Say, hey, this page is awesome. Be sure to follow these guys. They have the coolest stories ever written in the history of the world. So go tell your friends about that and everybody who has liked our Facebook page and our Instagram page will be eligible to win some goodies. We will be choosing 5 folks from Facebook and 5 from Instagram. So if you have liked both, you have double the chances, double the fun of getting merchandise, books, prints, and I can give one specific example. We have a poster with artwork by Alex Gallimore and Tommy Flormonti and Mickey Clausen that is out there right now. Go to our Facebook page and you can see that cool Silverline poster. And there's not a lot of that stuff out there, so you're getting unique Silverline goodies. So share our page far and wide. If you backed Teen Beetle and Switchblade, thank you. As always, those will be in your mailboxes and in your hands soon. Should be within the next couple weeks. Kablam, the greatest printing company ever in the history of the world. in the world is just about done with all those, and Roland will have them, and then the Roland will be sending them along to all of you. Thank you for supporting us and our efforts to create great stories. The more stories you support, the more you're going to see, and we have so many in the hopper. They're just going to be coming every few months, and then that might even change. So we'll see. So stay tuned, and thank you, Martin Piero, and your review of Stellar Odyssey by is it Unparalleled Comics, I believe. Thank you to Daytona Beach Comic Con for your support of Silverline. Our live streams are brought to you by them. We have, of course, the Wednesday show. That is tonight. You've been watching that if you were confused as to what you were watching. And Sunday night. What am I doing? Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, as well as the Sunday show, and we might have some crossovers there. We had
we did have a crossover.
We had a crossover from Sunday. Is that a real crossover? He's in the Silverline universe.
No, that's a crossover. That's a different
full-on crossover.
Yeah.
The Wednesday World.
The universe we don't claim often.
Wednesday is not canon, folks. Okay, it's like the Kelvin universe. It's the Kelvin timeline.
Their book doesn't sell very much, so
it's made up.
Come see what it was like to be on a real podcast, a real not podcast, not
it
podcast.
was true.
Yeah.
We're finding our event to consolidate the timelines.
Right. Thank you. Folks, we have been talking crossovers and all things comic books and movies, as we always do. We appreciate you joining us. This is where you get the inside track on the goodies coming up from Silverline and the news. Add your comments. Even if you're not watching this live, we try to get back to those. Join the fun, share these videos. And I don't want to wrap us up too early, guys. Any parting thoughts before we go? And it can be no. You can say we're done.
Well, if Batman can beat the Predator, he can beat
yeah.
Tony Stark.
But can he beat Charles Barkley?
Or
God's
Magnus
who could?
Streisand.
Wait, are we talking giant Charles Barkley?
Yes.
No, Charles Barkley was the normal size. It was the Godzilla that was tiny.
But were they playing next to the building? I thought there was a hoop on a building. Did I miss that?
Oh,
I
let's
thought
go back
that
and
was
see
on
it again.
building, yeah. I mean-
Oh, okay. Well, I was
like
wrong.
building size.
I'm always wrong.
Batman.
It would have been more interesting to see a tiny Godzilla, but okay.
There's no way Batman could beat giant size Charles Barkley. I mean,
but if this isn't also in the main like Dark Horse continuum, that means that at some point Spawn may run into giant Charles Barkley.
oh my, it's very true.
Wow.
Now, okay, so giant size is great, but you're right. They always seem to be slow and lumbering, right?
Right.
I guess you just have to give them like poison, just beep, like that'd be enough, and then done, or wrap their legs up, Star Wars,
Right. Yeah.
Walker style.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Okay, I think we need to start wrapping this up. Everybody out there, if you've got a team up, if you want to see some crossover or some battle that's even more epic, if possible, than Batman versus Iron Man, throw it in the comments, and maybe that'll be the subject of an entire show. I don't know. And Dean,
I think it just was.
Dean, with your grenades out there, thank you.
Always got them.
So Dean, why don't you start the goodbyes, and I'll wrap it up. Dean, then John, then C. Go for it, Dean.
Okay, this is Dean Zachary signing off. You can find me on Facebook, and always remember, creativity is beyond calculation. We don't calculate here. We keep the mystery of creativity alive. And I'll sign off with that. Good night, everybody.
Well, thank you, Dean.
Great. Now we got to come up with something good.
Yeah, why do you keep setting these standards? What the heck?
Yeah.
Okay, John.
All right, so this is John Medic. You can find me on Facebook as well under John Medic III, also under Beta 3 Comics. I, for a change, have nothing deep and insightful, so I defer to the better judgment and speech of Dean for this evening.
Dean, you set the bar so high. John, there's so much wisdom that comes from you. It's just a stream of wisdom. So
John's wisdom, ditto.
It's the caffeine, man. It's caffeine.
That and the Adderall, whatever.
Yeah.
Then Mickey, go for it. Tell us where folks can find you, where they can support your projects and so forth.
Mickey Clausen, you can find me on Facebook and as Mickey Clausen and Mindwinder Studios. And that's about it.
Yeah, right. And you are coloring. They're putting the finishing touches on.
I'm done.
Oh.
I did
The final touches have been placed on Twilight Grim #2. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I did a mock-up for Roland with the Silverline banner at the top and the logo already. So.
All right.
I sent it to him. He hadn't responded, so.
Roland.
Yeah.
Coming very soon. Just in a few short weeks, we will see Mickey's work on Twilight Grim, which is awesome. Very exciting.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mickey, for joining us. Hopefully, we'll see you in the coming weeks. We love having you on the show with us.
I'm going to try to start scheduling it every week.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Over there in San Diego. Yes. So, C. Michael, and then Tommy, and then Tim.
All right, I'm C. Michael Lanning. You can find me, of course, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, don't forget to Kickstarter, Enter the Continuum, if you want to see some of my work. You can find me Fridays on week ended at 10 a.m. in the morning and on Sundays at 10 a.m. for Comic Sunday Brunch. I think I said that right. Yeah. And, of course, my words of wisdom is space is big.
Space is big.
Tommy, go for it.
I'm just going to say bye.
Bye, Tommy. A man of few words.
No, I'm back. No, I'm back.
So
go to infernostudios.com and look for Thomas Florimonte, Florimonte, pretty much everywhere, and you'll find me. And that is yeah. I'm ready to go to bed.
And go check out Kablam. And
Kablam, Indie Planet. You know, you want to see all the stuff, you can buy my personal Inferno Studio stuff there, plus all the Silverline stuff at indieplanet.com. So
right, and Tim TK, you're about to cross over into video
my own stream. Yes. Also, really quick in the chat.
Oh, it's a crossover. Yeah.
Cassisi.
Rory's over there to crossover.
Cassisi has his own crossover, which is Paul Atreides versus Luke Skywalker, and that Paul wins. And then if it's after it becomes Maldiv, I might agree because he is literal space god. So yes, I am Tim TK. I'm the associate editor and producer of the Wednesday show. I am on all the socials at Tim TK Writer, where you can find updates on my upcoming title, Wolf Hunter. I also stream at Agrobacon, spelled out on your screens, where I'll be streaming Destiny 2 later tonight. My words of wisdom is pursue everything with creative confidence. Don't feel like you need to do what other people want. Be confident about what you want to make, because some people will like it out there too.
Y'all are so good.
Yes.
Oh,
nice work, Tim.
man.
Okay.
Nice. Oh, I got one. All right. So in the Spider-Man Superman crossover, if
I thought this was wisdom. Why words of wisdom?
he has if he gets superpowers to be as strong as Superman, he can beat Superman. He did. I mean, if Spider-Man was as strong as Superman, Spider-Man beats Superman's butt.
You're right.
But when he's just Spider-Man,
man.
Not so much.
You know, I can't believe it. Now that we're talking about like the Treasury editions again, we didn't even talk about Superman versus Muhammad Ali.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one too.
Oh.
Can we start over again?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to
an
hour.
Ladies and gentlemen.
See if we can do another hour. We got another hour. We'll do that one.
Somebody needs to pick that up and run with it on Sunday's Sunday show.
Sunday night, you've been giving you've been given a topic. Maybe John can cross over and provide his insight there. I have no words of wisdom.
Nice.
I can't outdo these guys and their encouragement to reach for the stars and be creative, folks. My name is Scott Wakefield, and I shout out to Rory, who is transitioning out of the military, not as we speak, but he's got a lot. He's got a lot on his plate right now, so we missed you, Rory. We are co-creators of Steam Patriots, which should be coming soon from Silverline. And if you are an independent creator out there and you want us to spread the word about your work and you want to spread the word about our work, give us a ring. Not literally, shoot us an email, contact us.
You got to give them your phone number?
Call us at 1-800-Silverline is awesome.
There you go.
I'm sure that somebody's phone number.
Didn't you just like violate some FCC rule there? Yeah.
Tim, edit that out real quick.
Call your local representative and ask them to buy Silverline.
Right. And be sure to like and follow and subscribe. You know the drill. Folks, thank you for joining us for the show. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. And we will be back here next week. And as always, make mine Silverline.